Hello, and welcome to our first episode of this Transylvania Beckons, a Transylvania Chronicles version 20 of Vampire the Dark Ages. Before we introduce you guys to our wonderful companions here, thank you for tuning into the Rolling Nomads today, and happy Halloween! Happy Halloween, everyone. So why don't we just go ahead and jump right in and say, hello, my hellacious hemophages.
Hello?
Hello?
Hello,
Hello?
was it hellacious? Hello, my hellacious
Hellacious
helophages?
hemophages, yes.
Mm.
Hello, my
Hello?
My
hellacious
hellacious hemophages.
hemophages.
Perfect. We'll get used to that one. It'll change a million times before we settle on something good. Anyway, let's go ahead and go around and do a little bit of introductions. Of course, Avery, will be your storyteller, and literally everyone who's not about to introduce themselves. Um, let's go ahead and shift over to the Azure Butterfly.
Hello, everybody. Hello. I'm the Azure Butterfly, or Azure for short, or simply Rachel. I am going to be playing Jill, the gangrel, tonight.
Hello, I'm Huddy or huddyvonschland. Tonight I'll be playing Gisela, the Malkavian.
Hi, I'm Luna or Druid by Night. Today I will be playing the Tremere Rosalind.
Hello, I'm Az, and today I will be playing Jack, another gangrel.
Perfect. Well, without much further ado, my friends, let us paint the scene for where we will begin the dark nights to come. Of course, the Book of Nod is sometimes thought of as the vampiric Bible. It tells the story of Cain and his childer. It contains the prophecies of an apocalyptic future known as Gehenna, in which antediluvians awake from their long slumber to consume the blood of lesser Cainites and rule over a dread and horrid world. The prophecies are commonly thought to be the visions of Saulot, the most beloved of Cainites, reputed to be the first recipient of Golconda, and apparently the horrid victim of an even more horrid crime, the diablerie of Tremere. Yet the Book of Nod is not the only ancient Cainite text, nor do all of its versions agree on the signs foretelling the coming of Gehenna. It is in this moment that the camera pans in, flying over the skyline, which is the city of Bucharest. It is tall spires, it is peasant houses, chickens cluck through the streets, horses clacking along the cobblestones. Even in this time in the Dark Ages, in the spring of the year 1198 of our Lord, it's loud. It's a metropolis. There's life and life in abundance. However, as the camera moves down to street level and follows in what is presumably a destitute man entering a small convent in Bucharest. Sister Gisela, what are you doing this evening?
Well, like most evenings, I am watching the parishioners, seeing how they are praying, who amongst them is the most holy.
You see some regulars. Of course, one of the Duke's children is here, accompanied by a host of armed guards. as they pray that catches your eye. The glint of the light from the braziers within this convent off of their steel halberds and pikes.
An ill omen to bring weapons, brandish weapons in the church.
One of the guards looks over to you. It is poor omen for me not to do job.
Are you here to pray? Or are you here to guard?
I am not here to pray. The boy, he is here to pray. I am here to make sure he does not receive knife in back on the way back to palace.
Gisela smiles very broadly. She looks over at the boy and looks back at him. When you are finished with your charge, if you would like to return here for the company of the Allmächtige, I will be here.
He reaches to his belt and pulls out a small sack of coins and puts it in your hand. Goodwill from the Duke to continue your work here, sister. Consider it the boy's tithe.
She takes it and puts it in a hidden pocket in her habit. Danke. But my offer still stands. Herr
Giskrowski.
Herr Giskowski. Schwester Gisela.
Good evening, sister. And he just kind of nods his head. As I know your pool in this specific set, so I don't even need a roll from you.
Mhm.
You feel eyes on you, Sister Gisela. Intent eyes, seeking eyes. As you turn over your shoulder and you see this destitute man who's walked in. His clothes are ragged. It's spring, but his feet still bear the marks of frostbite from the winter. You've seen him around before. Probably in his early 20s. Definitely of the southeastern Slavs. He has those strong, broad features that, even in the face of what you know has to be an immense amount of pain with the frostbite on his feet, an easy smile.
Gisela will approach him and she'll say, Privyet.
Privyet, Sister Gisela. Privyet indeed. And he holds his hands out to kiss your hands, and you feel something in your palm. Obviously paper.
Mm-hmm.
As he
She'll
kisses
continue with the charade, though. Let him kiss. So.
He says, may the loving embrace of God be upon you, sister.
Smiles and nods.
As he walks around you, kneels in front of the altar, crosses himself, prays for a moment, and then extracts himself from the convent.
Gisela will sort of go into sort of the narthex area of the church, where there shouldn't be anyone to read whatever is in her hand.
It is a letter. In a hand that you have not seen in almost 30 years.
And whose hand would that be?
It reads, My child, it is my wish that you join me at the market square, close by the stocks in the castle district of Budapest. On the 15th day of April, the year of our Lord, 1198. There you shall be introduced to some allies of mine who would wish to become your patron. Your future might be assured should you agree to this patron's offer. Furthermore, it would please me greatly for you to accept, as I have already accepted for you, pending your agreement. Do not fail me, but come at once. The bearer of this letter is a trusted servant and has already arranged transportation for you. And it is signed Brother Marius of the Cistercian Order.
I think Gisela would, for a moment, place the paper against her chest. A girlish, very mortal titillation at seeing Aldous again, remembering the probably the time they spent after her embrace, but that one night that they conversed and had what she felt was a moment. But then that all gets washed away at the idea of seeing Marius doing his bidding, a phantom pain in the leg that she limps with, and his words, through pain and sorrow, it's how we learn God's greatest lessons. And she immediately tucks the paper away and goes to find the man who gave it to her.
As you exit the convent and out into the street, you see that gentleman is pulling a new pair of boots on. And you see there are 4 knights standing around a covered wagon. You recognize the heraldry as they are Teutonic knights. As they each stand in sort of vague conversation with one another, the man walks up, the destitute gentleman walks up to you. He says, "Are we to be taking flight this evening then, sister?"
Most assuredly, and with great taste.
Yes, I believe you will find the things you require to make your comfort within the wagon. Please, rest for now.
I have no doubt that Marius provides.
He bows his head and actually crosses himself.
Mm-hmm. And she will do the same as she heads to the wagon.
As you climb into the back of this covered wagon, you see that there are 2 people sitting in the back. At this closeness and with the sound dampened as you climb into the cart, you can hear their hearts beating. You can smell the sweetness of life about them, but they seem dead to the world, really. Their eyes are glazed and they just stare forward.
Provisions for the road.
Little awareness to what's going around them. Yes, provisions for the road. And as you hear the sort of jostling of leather and metal outside of the cart, you hear the telltale as the horses begin to move the cart. You ramble your way out of the city of Bucharest, the 10-day travel that it will take you to get to Budapest. As the camera pans out from Sister Gisela, it moves far over the mountains to a deep pocket of forest at the edge of the mountains. Jack, Jill. You're greeted with an interesting visual as you rise from your slumber. You see someone you know. Sat at the lip of the cavern with your two wolves, lapping eagerly at his hands as he scratches their jowls and then behind their ears. It's been a few years since the last time you saw Aristotle de Laurent. But his long blonde hair hangs just above his shoulders as it always has. Again, he always has this presence about him, this ease of just expression. As he looks up, he's, oh, look at that. Wouldn't you know that finally my brother and baby sister have finally awoken from their day sleep? Sleeping in too late.
Jill looked shocked initially when she took note of his presence there as she woke up, and then joy would spread across her face at seeing that and at the realization. And then the moment she's called baby sister, she just frowns deeply and she's going to say, I am not a child.
No, you are not, Jill, but I've always cared for you as if you were my own. Oh, no?
She's just going to silently go over and offer him a hug.
He stands up and he wraps an arm around you and kind of ruffles your hair.
Yeah, Jack stands up. So is this a social call or... Because it wasn't our fault. Like, the whole thing that went down, that is absolutely just mortals being mortals.
You aren't here about that, are you?
In fact, until you said something, I was completely unaware that there was a situation. Is there
There's
something we need to
not
take
a
care of
situation.
before
There's
we
not.
get on the road?
No,
Don't worry about it.
no.
Don't worry about it.
It's good to see you, brother. It's been too long.
There was always another fire, no? Well, get your things. We need to make quick way if we are to be in Budapest by the appointed hour. So
Oh no! Hold on. What do you mean the appointed hour? What are we going to Budapest? What we don't have
We
to go
don't-
to the city.
Do we have to? Do we have to?
What's going on?
as you say in your very primitive tongue, da, we are going.
There's no need to be rude. It's first thing in the evening. Artie, come on.
I
haven't even-
make the jest. I make the jest because I care. But yes, it is very necessary. Father has a debt which needs repaying. And I am much too busy. And
Are you pawning off something Father told you to do on us?
we,
Doesn't have to do with our other sibling, does it?
unfortunately,
Jill
But-
audibly sighs.
this is an opportunity. You know how Father is. He is horrible at mending bridges. Perhaps this is an opportunity for us to solidify the allegiances of the gangrel of Europa.
You think we are better at mending bridges and helping things than Father?
Anyone, literally anyone,
I
is
was
better
going to
at
say,
mending bridges
That's
than our
fair.
Father.
That's fair.
Last time Father went on some sort of diplomatic mission, well, you know what? It's best we don't talk about it.
He can be cunning and guileful when he chooses, but for this particular bridge, it needs unwounded hands, so to speak.
less built on bones of others. Yeah.
Jill,
Or is it built on bones of others? Like, is that what we're walking into?
at that, Jill is already grabbing her bow and quiver and all the arrows she can fit.
I am going to introduce the two of you to my old coterie.
Grabs the knife too.
There is a likelihood that the two of you will be paired up with their children as well.
Working with others.
Oui.
Jill just
So-
looks over to Jack with
Yeah, it's
kind of
that,
a nervous
that
look.
turn at the same time.
Yeah.
Look back.
It is something you must get used to. No, K-Night is an island. No.
We've been doing fine just by ourselves for 50 years now.
Eh, I mean,
What
the
do you have to
village
show for
down the
it?
way-
We have
Allow
a
me
home,
Allow me a
haven.
moment of sincerity. You have a hole in the mountain.
It's a nice
It is
hole.
our hole.
Yes. And it fits our
I am not
wolves.
disputing. I am not disputing the fact that it is not under your possession or not nice from your point of view. But we are
Sounds
all
like you
called
said
for.
that, Artie.
We are called for greater things.
Jill's just gonna move over to Jack and do the thing where she's gonna grab at the back of his shirt, twist and tug a little bit.
I'm sure Father tells us all on the night we receive the Empress. We are destined for greater things.
Hmm.
He would not have chosen you if you were not.
She smirks a little bit at that, and then she's just gonna say, "Well, my brothers, then we should go."
If we keep to a firm with 4 legs or 2 wings, we should be able to make Budapest in 4 days' time.
It's at that point that Jill kind of just looks to the ground and then looks to Jack and then
Jack
looks back down to the ground.
Bumps into her shoulder with like I got you, and we can sleep in the dirt along the way.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very good. And
4
he
days.
sort of nuzzles each of your wolves gently. You know, they are much more agreeable about the travel than either of you are.
Well, it's just the city, Artie. Like, the city itself is just. Every time we have to go there, something bad happens.
It's why we stick to the forest and to smaller villages around.
But if it pisses off that prick, like. And then Jack will start shifting into his wolf form.
Jill is
Shit, I
noticeably.
forgot to take off those blood points because of the evening waking.
Jill is noticeably not shifting into a different form. In fact, she's just making sure that she is got all her leathers on and a traveling coat. And once Jack is finished shifting, she is going to all of her small 4'10" self grab onto the scruff of his neck and then pull herself up onto his back.
He kind of crouches down a bit to make it easier on her. And then kind of chops
Aristotle looks at the
other
both of you
wolves.
for a moment. We are going to be working with Mitru on this one, so try not to muck it up. Please. It's for our best interest.
When have we ever mucked anything up before?
I was
There's a
going to
sneeze
say
that
that.
comes out of Jack.
And
There's just
as he turns to the door and leaps in midair, he transforms into an all-white raven and begins to fly.
making sure that Jill's secure.
She's
And the door
leaning
shut.
forward she's leaning forward on Jack, and she's gonna whisper into that ear. And it was gonna be such a good day today.
And then, as long as
Or night
she's
tonight.
ready,
Yeah.
Jack's gonna take and book it at full speed.
Yep.
As you travel forth, again, the camera pans out, up and over mountains, gets lost in the blackness of the field of vision for a moment. Before, like you've had a burlap sack ripped off of your head, we just are in front of this huge castle structure, massive in every proportion. And within the Tremere's secret chantry of Seorsis, Rosalind, what are you doing this evening, this night?
Rosalind is likely studying deep in texts and hoping to perfect any technique she needs to.
Well, what exactly are you studying this evening? What's the field?
Probably a ritual, a blood ritual, trying to perfect the art of protecting one's haven, one's sleeping quarters.
As you are using your blood to draw the sigils on the windows of this part of Seorsis, you hear the door open behind you. As you see your sire, Celestine.
She'll straighten up immediately.
His short blonde hair, his green eyes, where once, not that long ago, you knew there to be a gentle smile. You see his face, handsome, but devoid of emotion, as he steps into the room. Working on another project, are we, Rosalind?
Always.
As good as it is to keep your mind busy, we will be leaving.
Where will we be going?
Some allies of mine have a business proposition for you. I've already accepted, pending your agreement, but you've been seen fit to be matched with a coterie.
I see. She seems a little uneasy. Do you know what kind of people I've been matched with? Any inkling?
I do not, but I know their benefactors. And they were my own coterie for a time. You can trust them as much as I trust them. And he kind of gives a very inflective nod.
Of course, of course.
Gather your things. I have Etrius preparing us a transportation ritual. We will need to hurry.
Right. And she'll start cleaning up what she's doing and pull out of her things and start packing.
Your ritual components and whatnot. And after just a moment, a finely carved ashwood stake is laid atop your bag. As Celestine sets it down. I want you to study this. I don't want you to use it until you can recreate it. I understood.
Yes, of course.
This is a shaft of belated quiescence.
Oh, okay.
Point of this stake will find the heart of whoever you strike it with. It's only a matter of time.
That seems very powerful, very useful.
I don't wish for a most promising progeny to encounter any undue difficulties on the road.
Of course.
Very good. And he helps you finish packing your things, and you know the chamber where transportation rituals are usually conducted. As you see two kindred in this room as you enter in the middle of an argument. As you come in, you hear the one say, "It is not for us to decide, Goratrix. It is simply not for us to make moves on. This is a foolish implication that you have made." As you see the smaller, squat, still radiating power, Etrius, speaking to the man you had seen before at the inner council chamber. Short black hair, scars throughout his closely shorn black beard, eyes like they're made of steel and topaz themselves. A large man, a warrior. The mage who you've come to know as Goratrix. He says, "I think you simply lack the spine to carry out your own convictions, Etrius. And I am tired of waiting on lesser men to make greater decisions. Find your steel or get out of my way." As he turns and heads out the side door of the room, slamming the door behind him enough that you see splinters crackle down the wood. As Etrius turns, "Master Celestine, Adept Rosalind, forgive this unsavory business that you have witnessed. Goratrix is having one of his fits. Please, I have ready the ritual. Come.
And Rosalind will just, without saying anything, without making an expression, just do what she needs to for this ritual.
As you stand in the center of the circle with Celestine, Etrius takes the transpositional crystal and sits it in its holder. And then clasps the flat of a ritual blade between his two hands, turns it, and runs his hands up the sides as he drops it. And his blood, it doesn't fall normally. It falls in single beads that begin to quickly whiz across the ritual circle, forming this geomantric prism of blood energy as light begins to shine between them, connecting dots moving from here to here. Rosalind, I also know your pool for this, so I don't feel the need to ask or have you roll. It's fascinating. You've never actually seen this ritual done in person, but what you're seeing is a topographically accurate map of Transylvania and Hungary springing up around you in these dots of blood. As the one over Seorsis begins to glow this baleful, sickly green, and the one over Budapest begins to glow the same color, before the entire ritual circle glows, and a shadowy entryway appears in front of the transpositional crystal. As Celestine looks to Etrius, I will be sure to return the favor when I return. I appreciate this, Atreus, more than you can know. Atreus says, I will make sure you repay the favor, my dearest of brothers. As Celestine offers his arm to you, Rosalind.
I will take it and offer Atreus a curt nod and a thank you.
He smiles. His teeth never unyellowed from his life. His hair is greasy and slick. He's certainly nothing to look at, but he certainly has a wealth of power in blood magic. As you pass through the shadowy entranceway, and you feel the world crumble around you. It's for a split moment in the darkness, where you can feel Celestine's arm in your own, but you can't see him. Standing about 30 feet away from you, you see the crone.
We'll do our best not to look.
You have come back here, my dear. A poor child. I could exist. Let you float in the nothing. But not today. To see you suffer. As your feet land on solid ground, Celestine beside you. You've been to Budapest before. In fact, you've been into this very shop. As you see your broodmate, Ardan. As he looks up. Ah, sire, Rosalind. I was not expecting. Ah, welcome, come.
Arden?
What is occasion? And Celestine looks. Business, I'm afraid. And while I will be returning here, Ardan, your broodmate and I, we have business to attend to. And Ardan holds up his hands, and you see he runs an alchemical shop, so there are all sorts of potions, bits, bobs, instruments for observing the heavens, globes, things of that nature in here. Right, very well. I will not get in your way then. I await your return on bated breath I don't have, sire. And Celestine smiles and just kind of puts his hand on Ardan's cheek and kisses his other cheek. I will return. Just Rosalind with me.
Rosalind will just, again, straighten out and follow.
So as each of you have entered the city at this point, it is the night of April 15th. It is the day that you are cordoned to meet at the market square close by the stocks in the castle district. Travel through the city while it's congested, and especially for our more animalistic kindred present, it's rough. There's a lot of smells, there's a lot of people, there's a lot of movement. Because the city is coming alive again after the end of winter. You know, if you came here in the wintertime, it probably wouldn't be so bad, but now that spring is dawning and life is returning, things are good. As unwittingly, you all end up within about the same 60 feet of each other, walking down the path to the market. It's as strange as that is as a concept. With how busy the streets are, it is very likely that you could be within 60 feet of someone and never know they were there. Torches light the streets, and near the center of the market, you see an unsavory bit of business. There's been a platform built up. You see a man, a short, paunchy man, standing atop the platform, holding a chain link to a collar attached to a roughly clad, miserable-looking captive who is on her knees. As you move through, what's everybody's... Let's start with Jack and Jill. Where are your heads at, moving through this marketplace, seeing this
Jill is
flesh
probably
auction?
Yeah, Jack would have asked Jill before we entered the city what faces they were putting on. If it was Jack was guarding Jill, or they were just two siblings heading into town.
for this one, it's probably Jill's probably deducing that because of the crowd of people, it might be better to act as siblings than it would be to act as like a guard, just because it might draw a little too much attention. But while we're like walking through like crowds and stuff, Jill is like clinging on to the back of Jack's shirt.
Yeah, and Jack's standing up to his full height, just like we're walking through the crowd.
We have a goal, we have a destination.
It's a goal and a destination, and once we see the platform, Jack's gonna kind of bump into Jill and shift his head towards the platform and kind of look over to the side, somewhere that they can stand and look. Jack's kind of rubbing at his neck. He looks just like he's scratching, but to Jill it would be Jack does not like the situation. There is someone in chains.
She's gonna... Is there a quiet spot where we can move to? Well, pseudo quiet.
Yeah, it's a marketplace, but you can find a place a little ways out of the way.
Like just like a nearby like nook that's still like looking out towards that.
Jack's gonna make a path to that nook. It doesn't matter if people are in the way or not.
Jill is keeping up pace, and once they're safely in there, she's going to position herself in front of him, looking up to him with serious eyes, and she's going to say, "Do you want to do something?"
Is this what we're here to see?
I do not know.
Aristotle, who is a few paces behind, so he scans the crowd really quickly, and I'm gonna make a roll for him.
Jack's thinking about using acute senses, but there's so much noise to see what people are talking about.
Aristotle scans the crowd, and he kind of gestures his head over to... You see another man standing in one of these little alcoves between stalls. He says, that is the prince's seneschal. His name is Roland. If you're going to do anything, you should clear that with him first. I will not dissuade you from this, but I tend not to get involved in affairs with the flesh peddlers. They are a particularly vindictive brood.
Jill is going to look and Aristotle will nod a few times, silently, before turning her gaze back to Jack. What do you want?
We're here because of Father, so we can always do something later.
We'll pan the
Who
camera away
are
from
you?
the two of them for a moment. Gisela, as you enter the market square, you get bumped into.
I think Gisela would be used to that unless it's someone in particular that bumps into her. Or is it just a member of the crowd?
You think it's a member of the crowd for a moment, and then you look up and you catch his face. Aldous. He smiles.
An immediate smile that she holds maybe 1 second too long and then covers. Bruder Aldous.
Der Gisela. You are doing well then.
I am doing as well as one can when they are called to a large city such as this on short notice.
Yeah. It makes men mad to be this close to one another.
Yeah.
It is good to see you.
She'll reach out and touch his scars. Wonderful to see you.
Brother Marius has been awaiting your presence fervently. Also, I must ask, have you had any more visions recently?
Has she?
It's been surprisingly quiet.
Unfortunately not. At least not any that are of use.
As you say. Well, then we should set up the road towards Castle Hill. That is where we will be meeting Marius and his compatriots.
Does Gisela see the platform or hear the noise?
Mm-hmm. And it's right about that moment that you would all hear that the first person gets sold, and he brings up a more disheveled and dirty, but beautiful woman in a chain. Her hair is knotted, but it falls in ebony waves down her back. Her eyes look dark and haunted. Her torn dress is well made and was once probably of fine material. As he lifts her to the top of the platform, he calls out, "And what am I bid for this woman? Virgin and untouched, obedient, and skilled with a needle."
The coin purse that the guard gave Gisela. Can she offer it?
You surely can.
I don't know
I
how
will
much it
definitely
is.
say over the amount of time, it's like 140 coins. They're silver coins, they're not gold, but it's still a sizable amount of money.
Money is not, for Gisela, means nothing and is less than good. So she would hold it up and offer whatever's in it for the woman.
Point, you all see a sister, a nun, call out 140 pieces of silver for this woman. I'll say, because the two of you have already clocked Roland, Jack, and Jill, you see a very disheartened look on his face. And you can definitely see the mental process of, do I want to outbid this or not? And at that point, Aldous, this man you see with sort of auburn hair that falls loosely just below the ears, a scar that runs through his beard, jagged and rough. He's sort of like thin and tall and wiry, but you can tell that there's some strength there as well. As he slaps another bag into your hand, Gisela. Just sort of like to the side, in case anyone decides to outbid you. He says, there are 45 gold pieces in this bag. Bid wisely, sister.
And she'll smile and say, Marius will never know. It was all my money.
Nods.
And she'll bid it up 5 gold pieces at a time.
So, watching this interaction, there's a nun bidding for this person. And as much as Jack has issues with the church, watching other people bid for this woman makes him very mad. So, is it possible to stare down anybody who tries to outbid the nun?
It is, and we'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
As the only person to witness this covert exchange of coin, as you're approaching from behind them, are Celestine and Rosalind. You see this covert exchange of coin between... You can't tell if the man is a knight or a monk. It's hard to tell. He's not dressing in the habits of the priesthood, but he certainly has the affectation that monks seem to have, that sort of... He's got a tonsure cut into his hair. He sort of stands with his arms together and overlap with one another. Like, he has the affectations of a monk, certainly, but not the habits, which is strange. As Celestine looks over to you. I truly, truly despise marketplaces.
I can see why.
We should keep moving.
Yes, not our business.
The two of you move your way through. Jack, go ahead and give me an appearance and intimidation. Because you see that Roland is about to bid up.
So I have a question, storyteller.
I have an answer.
So over the past 50 years that Jack and Jill have been in the wilds, in the forests, picking off weary hunters and would-be, would-be people after them, would we have any money stored away from...
Maybe a few bits here and there.
Definitely not
nothing
enough.
Too big. Yeah.
Heard. It was worth asking.
What's the difficulty?
We'll say 7.
3 successes.
So you see
And one of
Roland
those is
about
a
to
10.
raise his hand and bid up. Describe to me exactly what you're doing here, Jack.
Jack is looking at the platform, remembering a time that now is a whole lifetime ago, with Jill standing in front of him.
She's clinging on to you, by the way. She's trying to make sure you're okay.
Which probably, from the outside perspective, might look like Jill is holding Jack back as he steps forward, and we're full on Kubrick staring this man. Like,
And Roland by no means looks like he can't handle himself. He's tall and broad and has wavy brown hair that falls just below the shoulders. He dresses in all the affectations of wealth. He has, a nice looking sword at his hip. But as you step forward, he kind of looks you up and down. His hand goes down. As the man looks around. No one. Well, for the cost of 140 pieces of silver, an honest bargain to the sister.
Gisela smiles.
One of the attendants grabs the chain and kind of roughly yanks the girl and moves her down the stairs. And as he gets to you, he takes the key and unlocks the collar. As the collar falls, and the girl looks at you. Gisela looks you up and down severely.
Can I use read the soul on her?
Oh, you surely can. You surely can. As
Perception. Because I have a lot of dice for that. I have 9 dice for that.
Oh my gosh.
Absolutely.
jeez.
And
Powerful.
Just in that.
Min-maxing.
No, I don't think so.
yeah,
What
the,
is
the difficulty is 8.
Okay, there we go. Only 3 successes and 9 dice. That sucks.
Willpower.
3 successes. 3 successes.
I
is
don't
still
know.
good. So what you see in the halo that surrounds her, it is a sort of deep brown, which you know to be the color of bitterness.
Mm-hmm.
You also see that there's some it's not pale enough to be a canine. But it has a touch of pale to it. Not even pale enough to be a servitor, a ghoul as you would know them. It's strange.
Mm-hmm. Gisela will sort of look her up and down and say, "Do you wish your freedom, child? Or do you wish for something greater?"
If you freed me now, they would just chain me again before I left the city.
Yeah, natürlich.
My
I
brother
could.
will pay you a great reward if you see me out of the city.
I have no use for money.
Didn't say the reward was money.
Do you wish for your freedom? Or do you wish for something greater? The smile never leaves. She smiles a lot.
She chuckles and she says, I mean no offense by this whatsoever, sister. I respect what you are doing here, but if I were to join a convent, my brother would flay everyone within. And he would be right to do so. I have a duty. And while I appreciate you and your hospitality and this gesture, it will never go unremembered. I can be a better friend to you outside of a convent. As she holds her hand out to you and kind of takes your hand gently and squeezes it in a very friendly exchange. She says, "My name is Sheresina Basarab."
And from where do you hail?
Romania. Go ahead and give me an
I want to do something.
intelligence and occult.
I want to do something real dumb. I'm trying to resist.
It's okay. You're being awkwardly stared at across the courtyard.
That's not a good roll. What's the difficulty on that? I'm not very smart.
7.
One.
You know you've heard that name before, Basarab. And actually, because I know what you've been doing in the time between your prequel and now, that's a Samis family.
Oh, okay. How do you know what that means now? She's going to sort of squeeze her hand back. Since I freed you, would you take some coin, go somewhere safe, a tavern or something? And I will help you find your brother.
I would appreciate that greatly. Duh.
Good. She takes the 45 gold coins, not really having a great grasp or concept of how much that is, and just gives her the bag.
She takes it, opens it, nods. She says, I know a place. Whatever business you have in the city, you will be able to find me at a place called the Golden Horse.
Wunderbar. I will call on you there. You may call me Sister Gisela.
Gisela. You have made friends of Ventila Basarab today.
She'll
This
sort
is-
of nod and just sort of like wait for her to leave. The smile's still there.
Heads off. And it's at that point that you see that Aldous was sort of watching this conversation occur before he looked over. He says,
So sorry.
Celestine? Is that you? And Rosalind, you hear this as well as you've gone a few paces beyond this as Josiah turns.
I'll turn as
Looks
well.
this lanky man over as Aldous calls out to Celestine. And Gisela, your attention is brought to this blonde-haired man and this red-haired woman that he is traveling with. And Rosalind, your attention is brought to this sister and this novice, maybe? As Celestine moves forward to embrace Aldous. And he says, You You look good, Aldous. Strong. And Aldous says, you know what they say, the years on the road, they make somebody strong. And he says, so this must be your... And the blonde-haired man, Celestine, nods. He says, yes, Rosalind? This is Aldous. He is an attendant to my compatriot, Marius.
Oh, lovely. And she'll reach out her hand. Rosalind.
The blonde man looks over to you, Sister Gisela. And I would be remiss if I were not to recognize the monk of Marius's progeny.
It is a great honor to finally meet you. I've heard about you.
Holds his hand out. He says, I am called Celestine. I am the High Librarian of the Chantry of Seahorses.
And who is your progeny?
And he just sort of gestures.
Rosalind will take a step forward and Rosalind Prentice. Very
Gisela.
curt, very short and to the point. Lovely to meet you, Gisela.
Lovely to be met. You have beautiful hair.
Thank you.
And it's at that point over where Jack and Jill and Aristotle are standing, where Aristotle looks up. He says, well, if it is not my old compatriots,
Jill, at that moment, is finally just turning her head away from Jack to look towards where Aristotle is speaking to.
He says, come, my brother and sister, come.
Jill looks up to Jack and she's gonna reach up
Jack has been watching the nun.
She's gonna reach up as best as she can and try to pat at his cheek and say,
Which he'll lean down a little for her.
she's gonna say, it's okay now. Let's go. Okay.
You can always do something like that. Oh,
If you
Oh,
so
it's the same
choose.
as we start walking.
As Celestine turns and he says, Aristotle, you know, I knew we would all be here, but to meet you in a marketplace of all places, brother, why? And Aristotle smiles. He says, you know what they say about these sorts of, what is that word you always fucking say, Celestine? Convergences. You know what they say about these convergences. It is destiny. He says, and Celestine looks to everyone. He says, this is my bosom companion, Aristotle de Laurent. A dear friend. And these are your progeny, Aristotle. And he just chuckles. He says, no. They are not mine. They are my broodmates.
Arnulf, Jill will say.
And Aristotle just, yes, we share the same sire. And Aristotle turns, well, introduce yourselves, children. Come on. I know you don't get out much, but this is good for you.
Jack just turns. Just because you're older than us doesn't mean that you can call us children.
And I'm small, but yes, that. And Jill is just kind of like looking frantically wide-eyed at everybody present. This has been, God, how long has it been since we've been around this many people at once?
20 years? No. 17.
Somewhere in that ballpark.
17 years, yeah.
Yeah. So
Except for the sacrifices, but that's only one at a time.
yeah. it's fine. Plus, we just need bodies for like warning signs. Anyways, Jill is looking frantically around. You can see that she's kind of clutching at Jack's side. She's 4'10", wearing leathers, has a bow and quiver strapped to her. Her blonde hair is wild and unkempt. And yeah, she looks dirty. Though I will say, on one of her hands is a signet ring that it looks like.
And whereas Jill looks unkempt, it looks like Jack jumped into the river to quickly scrub himself off. He's about 5'8". He's got this shaggy hair and these deep green eyes, and he's got nothing on him really. He has just a plain tunic on, some furs, as he kind of steps forward and looks at the group. You can call me Jack. This is Jill.
Hi, she says, bringing her hand up for a moment before quickly bringing it back down.
It has a good ring to it.
Does. And Rosalind will like look them both up and down. Rosalind.
Rosalind. She repeats.
And you would be?
Sister Gisela, aber Gisela is also okay.
Gisela. She repeats.
You bought the girl. Why?
Because something told me to. Does that upset you that I purchased her?
Given the options at this place, I'm glad it was you.
Why?
I might not agree with everything that your order stands for, sister. But I doubt your intentions were the same as some of these people here.
As Jack says that, Gisela, that feeling begins to wade in again. That unsure quality, that strangeness. As you see over Jack's shoulder, above the road to Castle Hill, clouds open, and a hand comprised of lightning reaches out, beckons you forward. As you hear the ear-splitting thunder.
Gisela sort of has this look of disassociation, as we would call it today, on her face. As she's staring beyond you, and just says, Our path lies before us. We are expected, and should not tarry farther, lest we hit inclement weather.
Inclement.
The skies are clear as fuck, by the way.
Jill will note it. Will look up and then to the sky and then start sniffing heavily, just trying to see if she can smell if there's like a storm coming or something like that.
No, I know you're pulling that. I don't need a roll from you. The weather should be good.
The weather's fine.
However, Aristotle holds a hand up to you very quickly, Jill. Perhaps we should make our way then.
Okay.
And he turns, and you all begin to make your way with your appropriate. I don't want to say chaperones, but chaperones?
We're being brought
I
together
imagine-
on a play date.
Artie is our chaperone. It's okay, Avery. It's fine.
I imagine Gisela's pretty slow because she has that flaw, the limp.
Yeah.
That's-
This feels like
Yeah.
like parents bringing their kids together for a play date.
Mhm.
Yeah. Which
Yes.
Jack would try and be in the back, and then realize that he would have to go slower,
Mhm.
and due to some things about Jack, would in fact do so.
Gisela doesn't have a cane because she wants to feel the pain. Because that's normal.
As you head up the road on Castle Hill, the houses are shuttered. A few lanterns light the street. And as you turn the corner, you see a figure standing in the middle of the road.
Is this figure familiar in any way?
This is
In the few lights from the street, you see a tall, well-muscled man dressed in a tunic and a breastplate. He holds a spear in one hand, a shield in the other.
Anybody who's next to Jill will notice that she pulls out a knife.
Anyone who has points in, let's make this one an intelligence
Oh.
and academics. You can roll if you have a point in academics.
Oh, I don't have any points in academics, and I have 1 point in intelligence. We're
Yeah.
wild folk. So.
Jack is just looking around, being like, "So this is what a coterie is, huh?"
Yeah. We're gonna
What's the
say
difficulty?
for
Yeah,
we're gonna
this
say
is this is all Luna.
What's academics?
It's the things that they leave when they head off the trail.
Oh,
I'm so sorry. What was the difficulty?
7.
7. Oh no! I rolled so many dice and I only got 2. Nice, Jill.
Two's good enough.
Oh,
With that 2, your eyes immediately pick up on the craft of the arms and the armor. This is old. Like, you know of the Magyar people. This is ancient history. This is Romans building Aquinum old. And while Jack and Jill, you both recognize the figure before you, so do you, Gisela. He came to you in the third part of the vision. His hair and beard are wild and red. As forgive the volume that is about to come out of my mouth. In a haltering, broken Hungarian, he speaks. Stand, O children, whose shoulders bear the burden of redemption. Long have my eyes sought beyond to that which has been and will be. He rises, and all must be ready. Soon you shall meet with the one whose plans lead you into the heart of terror and exultation. Rejoice, for you shall witness all. You play a grand part in what is to come. The sweet heart's blood, let it wash away the sins. 8 signs of the coming nights shine within my vision, and I see you within it. Though nothing is ever prevented, yet it may be transformed by the action of a few. Go now, my children, and remember my words when the patterning is asked of you. Zolet lie. Flee his visions. Prosper. And we will meet again.
Jill does have her knife out, but it's kind of trembling. She has a 1,000-yard stare as she watches this happen, as memories from 50 years ago come flooding back to her, and she just, with her free hand, will clench tight at Jack's side.
Jack is just zeroed in on this man.
It's at this point that Celestine and Aldous and Aristotle all look at each other. We need to go. Now.
Who was that?
Of course.
Later. And Celestine shoots you a scathing glare, Jill. He all but flies into the alleyway as he activates celerity.
I will immediately follow wherever Celestine goes.
If we need to go now and something is wrong, Jack's gonna kind of like insight check Aristotle actually to see what.
Go
he's
ahead
thinking
and
about.
give me a.
We vibe check.
We're gonna say wits and empathy.
Okay.
Can I get in on this?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
It's...
While you guys roll this, Gisela, Aldous steps up to your side and he draws the sword from his belt. He says, "Go on ahead, sister. I will be right behind you."
What's difficulty?
What's the difficulty?
We'll say the difficulty is 8.
Oh.
1.
I was just gonna say, wits and empathy is like a really great role for Gisela if she can help them at all.
Jack's great at empathy.
Yeah, no. If you want to give a wits and empathy as well, Gisela, by all means.
That's a great pool for Gisela. I wanted to help.
Your specialty in truths will lower the difficulty for you by 2.
Ooh.
So
6.
the difficulty would be 6.
Truths.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
For Jack and Jill, whereas you know Aristotle well, he's hard to read in this moment. His mind has been set to purpose. You know that he knows something, but you're not sure what. As for Gisela, you see the full recognition of fear on Aristotle's face. Not only fear, but I think there's a distinct line between fear and dread. And I think that the fear was the initial, but it is fading into dread very quickly.
With that realization, Gisela will just very gently and kindly say to Jack and Jill, we should hurry. That inclement weather I mentioned will come for us.
There's a brief moment where Jill looks back up to the sky again and then shakes her head a few times and then just nods.
Knowing
As
that Gisela was a little slower while we were walking, Jack is going to kind of lean down. If we need to hurry, do you need assistance?
No. But thank you.
as you all do that, in this moment, you see that people begin emerging from the alleyways behind this figure. Torches, pitchforks, knives. As I think you would all, other than Rosalind, who was pretty quick to follow Celestine, you would all hear one of them steps up and he says, "My lord have no, Holy One, we are here. What is your will?" And as this wild-looking Magyar warrior switches into the Latin language, he begins to recant something that you know all too well. Sister Gisela, you've had to perform this prayer many times. It is the prayer for the dead. And you know you need to get moving.
Is Aldous still staying behind?
Mm-hmm. He's kind of like, as you move forward, he is walking backwards, like with his sword out.
Perhaps on reconsideration, Jack, I could use a hurrying hand.
And Jack takes and basically picks her up and puts her over his shoulders. And Jack looks super wiry, like he's maybe is 19. And he picks Gisela up with it's like he's carrying a feather.
Gisela hates
And
every second of this.
looks at Jill and starts running.
Jill has her bow out, an arrow notched, and she's going to keep at Jack's back.
As you go.
It makes her feel better. This is just as uncomfortable for Jack as it is for her. But we're coterie.
As you run through the alleyways of Castle Hill, you hear shouts, you see at intermittent points torches thrown at you that barely miss, arrows fired, the throwing of knives and pitchforks, before you finally break away into the castle district, where the mob stops about 60 feet away from the contingent of guards at the portcullis to the castle district. Celestine looks to the two guards, and Aristotle looks to them as well. They nod. They open the portcullis, allowing you into the castle district. The mob silently watching as you enter. As you move a little ways through the castle district, past another market to the stocks, you see a man in the alleyway holding a lantern, and as he lays eyes on all of you, he waves you over. Rosalind, you're decently familiar with this man. He's one of Celestine's ghouls. His name is Huddle. At least he was one of Celestine's ghouls. He gifted him to your brood brother, Arden, many years ago. As Hadel looks up, he says, Come. It is good to see that you have all made it in good health. And he leads you down the alleyway to a sort of pull-open cellar door where he reaches down with a key and unlocks it and opens it up. He says, After you.
I'll follow after Celestine.
As you enter, it's a series of stone stairways that twist about on themselves. Steps are old and crumbling in these places. And eventually, at the bottom, there is a veritable maze of tunnels. The tunnels seem to get tighter the further you travel. As you move, it becomes more claustrophobic. Before finally you arrive at another door where Hadel gives a knock. The door opens, and he gestures within.
At this point, if Gisela is good, Jack will put her down. And then look at everyone and head in.
Jill still has your bow out and notched.
As you say. And as you enter into this room, there are a few dark chairs, heavy wood. You see a stone sarcophagus occupies one corner of the room. 3 torches illuminate the room. And firelight plays off of the pallid faces of the room's 2 occupants. As you all enter, the first, he is wiry, he is black-haired, he's a bit hunched, his fingers are a little too long, tipped in claws that are a deep black. His eyes slitted like a cat's. Jack, Jill, you know this to be your brood brother, Mithru, the Prince of Klausenberg.
Jill grits her teeth and audibly sighs.
Jack
And the other figure in the room that may dissuade you from that. You see a tall bear of a man, a mouth full of razor-sharp teeth, a cloak of furs, his breastplate and sword seem well worn with hundreds of years of battle. The old wolf Arnulf.
Papa.
Daddy.
As he and Mitru are staring daggers into each other.
Jill very, very quietly leans over to Jack, and she's going to whisper, I really hope he ends him today.
Oh, look,
And you
that's
also,
nice.
at this point, as you enter, you see sitting in a chair in the corner as you enter Gisela, a familiar face. Just pale enough to not be tan, the long black hair, the eyes of living emeralds, teeth that shine like the pearls of the Mediterranean themselves, dressed in a monk's habit. Brother Marius of Genoa. As he stands, he walks over to you, Gisela.
Gisela would have been, as soon as
Bows
Jack
his
put her
head to
down,
you.
making her way over to him.
Bows his head to you.
She'll get down on purposely on her bed, like the one he hurt.
Offer his hand to you.
And she'll take it and kiss it.
Alice. Sister. Gisela.
Danke, Bruder Marius.
He kisses each of your cheeks. He says, you bear the countenance of Christ this evening. Serene.
As we all hope to do every night.
As Celestine walks over, says, it's been a very long time, Brother Marius. And Marius looks up. That is because your perception of time is flawed. And he kisses both of his cheeks. Show me, Celestine, where is your child? Celestine turns and he beckons you forward, Rosalind.
You'll come forward.
This is my dear friend, Brother Marius.
Rosalind will do a small curtsy. Rosalind.
He offers you his hand. It is custom when meeting a priest of his rank to kiss the ring.
She will indeed do that.
As Rosalind kisses the ring, Gisela, you spend enough time with Marius to know you see his eyes fully flash over white for but a moment. Before he smiles. He says, it is wonderful to meet you, Adept Rosalind.
The honor is mine, Brother Marius.
And he looks to Aristotle. And these are the two fabled children of Arnulf that the great old wolf has been howling on about for the last few hours. And Aristotle begins to say something before Arnulf steps forward. Says, they belong to me. Marius nods. It is good. We will need them. Please, everyone, let us sit. As the chairs are brought forward. And Mitru just turns at the fireplace. You may all sit if you like, but I think it would be pertinent to get to business. You will want to know why I have called you and your children here. I don't think it is any sort of secret that we are preparing, us, the princes of Transylvania. We have watched all of your progress. We have been led to believe that there is perhaps untapped potential. Huh? So, there is something that I will need from this new coterie, and for this service, all debts of sires will be forgiven. But please, now that you know why you are here, let us enjoy some refreshment. And you see a part of the stone wall slides. As two women are brought out. And Mitru just waves his hand towards them. Please, enjoy yourselves. I will speak more of my request while you dine.
Jack is standing beside Arnulf.
Mitru looks around on all of you. Don't all jump at the same time.
Rosalind will just look to Celestine.
Yeah, Gisela's doing the same thing with Marius.
I'm looking to Jack and Arnulf. Yeah.
Both Marius and Celestine give a nod. And as Arnulf looks to Jack and Jill, he says, "When the Prince of Klausenberg tells you to dine, you dine." And he locks eyes with Mitru.
Of course, sir.
Yes, sire. And she's
I
gonna.
wasn't hungry, so I was just trying to be polite.
As each of you feeds, I need to know two things. What manner are you choosing to feed from them? And how much blood do you need?
That's a good question.
Did I use any blood to do what I can't remember the name of it anymore. See the
aura?
soul? Yeah, the aura.
It's not
I
Scribe of
don't-
Soul in Dark Ages. It's
Read the soul.
Read the Soul.
Yeah, read the soul.
I don't.
And you have the book, baby.
No.
I don't know how much the permanent.
That does not require an expenditure of blood.
Okay, so then just to be polite, Gisela will sort of like wait till like, you know, there's some blood going on, and then just sort of put her wrist over maybe like a cup, if there's a cup, or if she has a cup.
Yeah, there are cups.
Yeah,
Sure.
just a little, because she's not hungry, and this isn't at all how she likes to feed. She doesn't like doing it, especially around other people. So yeah, just to be polite.
Rosalind will gently take one of the women's wrists and feed just a tiny bit because she's also not hungry.
She's gonna go up. Jill's gonna go up to one of the women and just glare up at them for like a solid 5 seconds before grabbing the wrist and just biting in. Just taking a little bit too, and then popping off.
how much blood does it take for Jack's flaw in the evening? Isn't
2
it just 1
points.
point? 2 points? Okay. So once everybody else has eaten, Jack will go up one of the women, and if there's part of the shoulder exposed, just watch me true. And then take 2 points of blood from the shoulder by biting in and making sure to close the wound.
That is a fair note. Anyone who did a direct bite, did you care to lick the wound closed or not?
Jill would have.
Absolutely.
All right. As you all dine, Mitru watches intently, each of you, and nods. Says, I've asked that you join me here in order to offer a great opportunity. Your sires have assured me that you will be happy to assist me, and thereby secure yourselves a comfortable future. I wish for you to travel to eastern border of Hungary. Transylvania, back home, you know. In the Carpathians, beyond the city of Bistritz. There is a natural gateway, you might say, in the mountain. Called the Pass of Tiuta. It is the main access to Transylvania from the east. It holds vast strategic importance, as we believe there is to be another Mongol incursion. My request to you is this. You will travel to Tiuta Pass. You will erect a fortress there to guard the trade route. This is what I have to say.
Forgive me. You want us to do what again?
You will
What exactly?
erect a fortress at Tiuta Pass to guard the trade route which crosses through there.
Guarding isn't really my specialty. But I suppose I can
I am
give
not asking
it
that
a
you
try.
remain. I am not asking that you would remain there, Sister Gisela. Make no mistake. I am asking that you would oversee its construction and return to wherever it is you would like to call home.
All right then.
When you say oversee construction, brother, are we meant to build this?
Oh, no, of course not. I am willing to advance you certain sums of money to cover the cost of hiring guards, skilled workmen, but you do also... Your sires have assured me that you have enough resourcefulness to complete the task, so...
No, our sire usually has a good head for who to embrace.
Usually.
You should know that you will be, or at least if you have the resourcefulness your sires assure me that you do, you'll be taking charge of the lands, nearby villages, taxation, etc., etc.
Money handling?
Yeah, you may tax the peasantry and use their labor in building as well. This is the way.
Jill looks visibly disgusted.
Luckily for all of you, the foundation is already there. An old wooden tower once stood on the cliff path. You should utilize the stone foundation and build upward from there. I shall expect at least that the first floor be completed by the winter.
What happened to the old building?
And he looks to Arnulf. Looks back to you. Barbarians.
Jill just grins wide.
What do we know about that part of the country?
About Tayuta Pass?
Yeah.
It's high up in the mountains. It's a pretty lucrative trade route, because it runs itself into the Silk Road. Lots of cash flow comes through Tayuta Pass.
How far out of our area that we've known is it?
Decent. It's probably 4 to 5 days through the mountains from there.
Got you. Jill has a lot that she wants to say, but she's doing the smart thing and not.
We don't tell our brother to go fuck himself and do it himself.
Yeah, no, exactly. Because no, Jill is also thinking in the fact of, oh, you couldn't defend what was already there.
So inside thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Is read the soul an obvious thing? Like super obvious that Gisela's doing it?
No. No.
Can I read his soul color?
Sure.
Can I get his color vibe?
Yeah. Let's
Like
figure out what
check
color
the colors of the
mood ring
soul.
is. Yeah.
That ability sounds fun.
Ring power.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. What is the difficulty?
8.
I rolled really good. Okay, that's 4 successes with difficulty 8. I feel like it's pretty good.
So that gets you all the way up to being able to detect subtle shifts in his aura.
Oh.
Prepare to see how much of an asshole he is.
So the first thing you notice is that obviously his aura is very pale. He's a Cainite.
Certainly hope so, yeah.
And you see that his aura is shifting between a very light green to from a very light green to a brown. It keeps.
I assume that is a personal thing and has less to do with the mission, so Gisela's not that concerned about it.
As far as any pattern within it, you do see that there are a few little sparkles of a myriad of different colors, which dance through the edges of his aura.
Okay. Gisela's very concerned because the vision that she had, and she saw the person from her vision, and then they build up a thing, and she saw a thing in her vision, and the Tayuta Pass, and she's having a real bad time, but she's got that smile on her face. She's standing next to Mafia's shining beacon great child, but she's very worried.
So, I assume then you will accept.
Okay, with my understanding of politics a little bit.
That 1 dot, we're riding that 1 dot, baby.
I have a single dot in politics and I'm going to use it. We really don't have a choice in this, do we?
No. I mean, you do, but it'd be the wrong one.
Jill is just going to. I assume we're sitting right next to each other, Jack.
Jack's standing behind Arnold's shoulder.
Got you. Yeah, Jill's at y'all's side then, and then she's just gonna she's not gonna reach up for the back, but she's gonna reach for Jack's hand and kind of squeeze it. You can tell this is an angry stance from her, and Jill is just going to grit her teeth and say, "Yes."
Given the gravity of the situation, Rosalind will glance to Celestine before saying, "Gladly."
Gisela says yes. Because what else could she say?
Mithril nods. He says, "There is a small personal favor that a boon could perhaps be attached to if you would complete it for me." It's a matter of little import to anyone but myself, but it's rumored that among the ruins of the tower there may be some old writings. Documents, tablets, forgotten languages, these things. Should you locate them, I would like them for my collection in Klausenberg. I know it's frivolous, but such pastimes often alleviate the occasional tedium, being what we are.
Should we find such frivolities, as you called them, we shall certainly send them back to you.
Yeah, no, please, advise me if you find them, and I will send an agent to collect them from you. I would not like to risk them on the road. Should you hear of such writings and learn who has them in the future, I would continue to offer boons for such frivolity.
If they're frivolities, it's no trouble just to bring them to Klausenberg for you, brother.
I would not have them rest on the road with the likes of you.
I would like to insight check him.
Yeah, I was about to say same
Like
freaking thing.
frivolities.
Yeah, no.
Wits and empathies around the room.
Okay, yeah. What the? What's the
likes of
difficulty?
you,
That
the same blood's in our veins, you prick.
Yeah, for real. What the hell?
I'm gonna say
There's a-
difficulty of 9.
Tip.
It would be 7 for you, Gisela.
1.
Oh, if it's 7 for me, 3,
How's insight?
4,
Am I
4.
doing-
All right, blood. It's not a blood surge in this one. It's you.
It's a blood buff.
blood buff. Blood
I love
buff, and
that.
blood buff gives you 2 extra dice.
2 extra dice.
Can I blood
Okay.
buff?
If you want to blood buff your wits, sure, yeah.
Yeah,
You
sure.
can spend a point of blood.
Yeah,
Why
we're
not?
going. We're going.
So that
for-
makes it 3.
One more time. What are we rolling?
Wits,
Wits
and
and
empathy.
Empathy. Okay, I was looking for the wrong thing. Oh, I don't
For
have anything in
difficulty?
empathy.
The difficulty is 9.
Oh,
For me, it's 7. It's 7 for me, right?
Correct.
And 4.
Okay, I got a 10 and a 9, so that's 3. Out of all my
3,
dice.
3, 4. Luna,
None.
Okay.
0. Luna, this man is implacable. There's nothing going on behind them eyes. Not a dang thing, man. For the 2 3s. Mitru is the brood sibling of yours that you probably know the least. You know that he's shifty, that he can even be accurately characterized as slimy from time to time.
Prefer the term greasy.
Yeah.
He is He is not being entirely truthful. And I will pose a question to both of you before I give each of you more information.
So,
Are you focusing on him or the statement that he made? Like, are you trying to read body language or are you listening?
Jill is going to read body language in this instance.
Jack's listening.
And together we are a whole person.
Let's not go that far.
Jill, as you read his body language, every time he says frivolities, his thumb clenches around the arm of the chair. And Jack, as you listen, you've never known Mithru to have any interest that would only be interesting to him. And for Sister Gisela, since you've already soul-sighted this gentleman, I'll give you a little bit extra with that 4. As the soul sight witch does, go for the duration of the scene. As he begins to talk about these pieces of writing, these scripts, you see that his aura begins to pulse violet. With these little veins of green, a deep verdant green that run through them.
Super. Yeah, I'm so glad Gisela used the word frivolities. Use that word on purpose.
And
To get
I'll
a
also
rise out of
say
them.
that doing what you've been doing in the time since you've been released from your accounting, when someone talks about old writings, forgotten languages, they're digging for something.
Boy, howdy.
And it's never unimportant.
Could be comedy.
Yep. Yeah, Gisela will smile and sort of place a very trepidatious hand on Jill, I guess. Since you said Jack is standing a lot
Yeah, Jill would be the
farther
closest.
over there.
Yeah.
And just say, well, who wouldn't want to be in your debt, Prince Mitru? We would be happy to search for these things and get word to you as quickly as possible. It would be an honor.
At the touch, you can feel Jill visibly tense up, but she's not going to move. She's going to look up to you for a quick second and look back to her brother, and then it's really not a good idea to call him out on his bullshit, is it?
Yeah, Jack squeezes
That-
Jill's hand twice.
That was the purpose of the hand
Yep.
on you.
Okay, yeah.
Without
Yep.
being obvious.
Gotcha. I figured. I just wanted to
And-
clarify before, because she was about to spit some fire.
And
That
Jack's
point.
kind of looking over at Rosalind. Because Rosalind looks very put together, right? With Celestine? Yeah.
She could probably
And so
read.
So he's looking at her as he nods, along with what Mitru's saying.
And as Mitru leans forward one more time, I think only based on your familiarity with Celestine, Rosalind, you catch the two of them lock eyes and exchange an imperceptible nod. As Mitru says, and if you should succeed in all of these tests, having the first floor by the winter, finding these writings that I would like to occupy my time. I will sweeten the pot. Not only will I owe each of you a minor boon, but as you may be unaware, 4 of the 7 cities known as the Siebenbergen are without princes. Your sires assured me that you would all be excellent candidates.
Rosalind goes a little wide-eyed. Again glances at Celestine.
You know he isn't trying to look at you, Rosalind, but you definitely feel his perception upon you. This is young K-Knights who prove their loyalty, intelligence, and ability shall find that we are not miserly in our rewards to you, we princes of the 7 cities. A domain, all your own. A fiefdom to rule. Power, influence, status. The things a young K-Knight may need if they wish to remain long enough to be an old K-Knight. As he looks to Jill.
I was muted, sorry. Jill is just glaring daggers back at him. She won't say a word.
And so with this, I have already spent some of the advance for all of you. I have hired guards, wagons to get you to Theater Pass. Take as long as you need here to discuss amongst yourselves. I am glad we have made an accord, and I look forward to perchance greeting you next as the remaining 4 princes of the 7 cities.
Gisela will
Brother,
nod
sister.
and sort of bow her head. Smiling, always smiling.
She nods to Jack and Jill. Brother, sister. Sister Gisela, Rosalind. I bid you all a good night. And as Mithru leaves, Arnulf is very quick to follow him.
Jack will take a couple quick steps back since he was right behind the chair.
Jill looks like she wanted to say something to Arnulf before he moved off, but then quickly just like almost like a and then just stopped. Hey, it's been a while since we got to see Father.
It really has.
As Aristotle stands, he says, well, I should probably make sure the 2 of them don't murder each other so that your world is not compromised.
Why would you stop that?
Jill.
Oh, right.
Decorum, sister.
She's a boy.
You've spent, the 2 of you, look at me. You've spent too long in the woods living like fucking animals. That is not how we survive. Father may be good enough to do it, but we are not that old and don't have the privilege. You need power, influence, and status, as Mitru has said. You are not doing this for him, you are doing it for yourselves. Oui?
Yes, brother.
Survive. Spite him. Outlive him if you truly want to. Shame him. And if you want to outlive him, you are going to need to know his tools. Which is why taking your own fiefdom is not a bad plan. Learn what you can. Figure out how he operates, how he moves.
This is reminding Jill of some very specific things from 50 years ago. And Jack, you notice that she is fiddling now, just moving it side to side, the signet ring on her ring finger.
So Jack kind of flops down into the chair that Arnulf was sitting in. Now that it's, we're about to be in a room with just us. So kind of messes with Jill's hair.
The Justice League.
Just us.
Just do this. Learn what you can.
The longer you stand here, the more time they have to try and rip each other to shreds.
Right. As he nods to each of you, he looks around the room. I bid you all good night as well.
Gisela will say to him very quickly, "Be not afraid."
Me? Never.
She's not smiling now.
Exits the room as Celestine and Marius both stand. We have a lot of catching up to do, my brother.
Could Gisela talk to Marius really, really quickly before he leaves?
See, Marius looks between you and Celestine. Perhaps if I could have just a moment with my child. And Celestine nods. By all means, I should probably take a moment with my own.
Marius, what did you see when you touched the Tremir's hand?
A bit of her destiny. That is all.
Positive destiny or a downfall? Since I am to be in her company, I would like to know.
He leans in and kisses both of your cheeks, and while he's kissing your second cheek, he whispers in your ear. In her hand, there is a blade that she does not even know exists. She will be the first Tremere friend. But the cost of such a thing could turn a man to stone.
I have no eye for princedom, fiefdom. I serve something higher. And I wanted to ask before I am sent away again. Someday, I want Aldous. If you want me to find whatever it is that Mitrus thinks is so insignificant or is telling us is so insignificant, I will find it. I know you have interest in it as well, or you would not all be gathered here. And I'll do it if you give me Aldous.
He nods. Complete this. Claim your fiefdom. Do what you can, sister, to bring about the kingdom of God. Aldous will be delivered to your hand. Now, would you like him as he is? Or would you like him to be as we are?
I want Aldous exactly as he is. In every way.
Well then, every way he shall be as he is, delivered unto you once you have claimed your fiefdom for the kingdom of God.
Grüß Gott, Bruder Marius.
Go with as Celestine turns to Rosalind.
Rosalind will
sits.
stand. Oh, if he sits, then she'll stay.
You understand how important this is?
Yes, believe so.
There can be no failure. If I made myself indiscriminately clear.
Of course, there will be no failure.
Through the works of our Lord Tremere, we've gained legitimacy as a clan. If you claim the seat of a city as prince, we will claim political legitimacy as well.
Of course.
This cannot be understated.
It will be done.
The future of our entire bloodline rests on you. I have molded you for this from the very moment that I found you. You are capable, you are ready.
He'll just nod a couple times.
He'll lean in and kiss you on the cheek, and he whispers in your ear, if there is any doubt that you will succeed, cut the dead weight.
Do a slight nod one more time.
He holds your face in his hands. I have a deep love for you, child.
And I you, sire.
He stands and joins Brother Marius, and the two of them exit the room, leaving the four of you. Fire crackling in the fireplace. A stone sarcophagus in the corner of the room. All of the attending sires and Prince Mitru of Klausenberg have made their exit, leaving just the very freshly formed coterie alone to talk as they wish or begin their endeavor in the nights which stretch forward from here.
So these chairs, do they have like arm rests on them, or were we just given just?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
They're comfortable, they're heavy, they're upholstered.
Perfect. So now that we're not around anybody, we're not trying to not offend. Jack is like flopped down in the chair. His leg is over the arm of the chair. He's kind of resting on the table, looking at our new coterie.
And Jill is sitting, both her feet pulled up onto the chair like this, and kind of is just hanging out.
Rosalind is straight backed, very hands on her lap, just taking in everything.
Jill looks to Rosalind and asks, "So, can you read?"
Yes.
Jack, we have somebody who can read.
No, yeah, no, it's good. Sorry our brother's such a prick.
He does not like you.
We don't like him. It's
No.
mutual.
Well, okay, to be fair, it's more not that I dislike my brother. It's that well, we didn't start off on good terms. And it hasn't gotten any better from here.
I dislike him.
Why does he distrust you so?
Jack's gonna kind of look to Jill. Maybe it's because we're his younger siblings. Something about experience and wisdom and all that. I think he's afraid we're going to. Sorry, sister. mess up.
I am not so precious that you must cover your warts.
I think he thinks we're gonna fuck it up, and he doesn't trust us to actually complete the task.
Who does he actually trust, though?
As Jill says that, you hear in your ear, quiet, imperceptible, that feeling flooding into you again, Sister Gisela. You hear, wer kann die Fragen verantworten? Hm? Wer kann dieses Fragen beantworten?
She'll sort of nod, and again, you see this strange dissociation come over her where she's not looking at you, she's looking past you, or she's looking behind her.
Are you okay?
Wer
Where do
kann
you
diese
go?
Frage antworten?
Is that magic?
I don't know.
It's divine. Who can answer this question? I don't know. Only they do. I believe his distrust in you comes from something greater than you are admitting to me, but it's not. You don't have to tell me. I am no priest to hear your confession.
I've never been to confession, and I don't have anything to hide. Really,
We live in the woods, we keep to ourselves, we only kill what we need.
You live in the woods.
Yes, it's quite peaceful.
Have you no fear of lupines?
well, it's a touchy subject. We have a what's the word?
Hmm?
What's the word? Understand?
Understanding? An agreement?
Something like that. We leave them alone; they leave us alone. And not all of them. They're some.
Live and let unlive. She'll actually giggle at that.
Fascinating.
Quite.
And you, Rosalind, I see that you are very devoted to your sire.
Yes. He's helped me grow quite a bit from where I was. I owe everything to him.
And you shall reap those benefits. I see.
What about you? You're quite curious. She says with a little tilt.
I don't think so.
Insight check.
It's probably because we've been in the woods for so long. Like we haven't really dealt with kindred society, Canine society. We haven't dealt with Canine society much.
Yeah.
Is it true that you have to go through the whole your sire follows you around?
Oh yeah, what's that like?
I can't necessarily speak from my own experience. He came to me because he heard about me. Then he broke my leg and gave me the embrace.
Why did he hurt you?
Forgot. Because it was demanded.
Right.
So you died fighting. You're a warrior.
We died fighting too.
No. I did not die fighting. I died screaming.
Rosalind will actually kind of look down and fiddle with her fingers for a second.
Is it a touchy subject for you, Rosalind?
Oh, the embrace? No. No, my embrace was... Pleasant's not quite the word, but... ceremonial. Special.
Yes, I would like to use that word as well.
So we're the only ones then that got, well,
Murdered.
murdered. Yeah, we were shot with arrows consistently until we
How
died.
unfortunate.
Arnulf saved
Nice.
us.
Oh, that's good. My condolences.
There's worse
What
things.
is your feeling for Arnulf? You dislike your broodmate, aber your sire?
He saved us, gave us the power to fight back against the obstacles that we had within our lives at the time. And
Give
to,
us eternity
yes,
and freedom.
we owe everything we are to Arnulf.
I
Give us all
think
the
upon that point, all of us can be in agreement.
Mm-hmm.
freedom.
Thing we share in common.
Freedom 9. I mean, they made us what we are.
I traded one bad father for a good one, so.
As
I
you
did
say
have
that,
one.
Jill, the glass on the table in front of you hurtles off the table into the fireplace with a shatter.
Jill jumps and then she is going to just say, "Fuck off!"
This is pretty normal at this point, right?
For you, probably.
Yeah,
Mm,
Jack just keeps on
yeah.
looking at our new coterie mates.
Is something the matter?
Oh, so how much do I know at this point with this? Like,
You know that you are inexorably haunted by the ghost of your father, Artbert Fletcher.
Rough.
yeah. I got ghosts around me.
Gisela will cross herself.
Um,
You should perhaps talk to a priest. I can recommend quite a few.
I appreciate the thought. Jill is going to say that I'm not one for churches or religion.
Would you say Gisela has met a Cappadocian at some point?
You have actually, and I can give you them by name.
Oh, good
Um,
air.
Yay.
It was one of your earlier encounters when you were in your accounting, Gisela. But Marius took you to the city of Prague, where you met Garanol Cappadocius, the abbot of Petrin Hill Monastery.
The abbot of what?
Petrin Hill.
My pen's dying. Okay. You said that you don't know much about Canaanites, other Canaanites. Jill, was it?
Yes, Jill.
Are you aware there is a clan of the dead? Or of death itself?
Have I heard of them?
No.
Have I heard of them?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
The Cappadocians.
I do not know of them.
They could perhaps help you with your hunting problem. They deal with ghosts and dead things.
I could finally be done with this fuck forever. I would like that.
Give me a dex in athletics.
Here we fucking go.
Okay, as she says that, at this point, Jack knows, so he takes and he uses his foot to kick the chair back from the table.
2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Dex and athletics, you said?
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 9 dice. What's the difficulty at?
We'll say 7.
5 successes.
You feel the back 2 legs of the chair snap, and as it would go tumbling backwards, sending you end over end, you find your footing quickly, just kind of hop up.
She's going to do that little hop, and then she's going to adjust herself and say, "Do better, old man."
Maybe
we
we don't antagonize.
That's so fun.
A bad father, you said.
Yes.
Yes, well, if we do, I know of Abbot Garnol, Cappadocius, but if we come across any, perhaps we could get in contact with some and resolve this issue for you. Well, because it might be unpleasant for all of us in the long run.
Right.
I would not like my evening prayers interrupted.
Fair enough. I will try to keep my reins in on him.
So, what is it that you all do?
What do you mean?
We're trying to build a fortress. I'm not one for building much. I'm more of the destructive type.
Hmm.
And I
You
am
are strong. Both of you are strong.
I'm more quick and stealthy than I am overtly strong, but I do have some strength.
That seems useful. Should we be besieged by the man we saw on the street, or any of his ilk?
Do either of you know
There
who that
is
is?
a visceral growl that burbles up in Jack's chest.
Yeah, Jill also is like super tense the moment that person's brought up and is going to ask, do either of you know who that was?
No, I wanted to ask you if you knew.
50 years ago, he came to us on a path before we returned, said the same thing to us, and then turned into a cloud of bats.
Not exactly the same thing.
With one notable exception.
Hmm?
In his initial greeting to you, he called you the children of Adam. And he has now called you my children.
I guess it would be in that moment that she realized that. And she's going to look to Jack.
Yeah.
Also, for the 3 of you that stayed behind a little ways, his servants did call him Havnor.
Havnor.
Mm-hmm.
And as
Lord-
that word
Lord
is spoken
Havnor,
loud,
right?
I will take either a intelligence and hearth wisdom or an intelligence and occult.
I'll do intelligence and occult because I have something in
That's not
hearth
good.
wisdom, but my intelligence is 1, my hearth wisdom is 1, and my occult is 2. So I'll take the 3 dice.
Jack
Such a
does
good
heart
pull for me.
wisdom.
Damn.
Oh wait, I've been fucking up.
What is
How
the
long does-
difficulty?
8.
Damn it. Okay.
And what's your occult specialty, Gisela?
I don't think I have one. Do I?
I thought
If
you
it's
did.
more
Maybe.
than 4 dots, you get a
I
free
didn't
difficulty.
pick one. No, I don't have one. I only have 1 dot in occult.
Gotcha.
Is my blood buff still active?
Was it you had heresy as one of your
In theology.
go? I will accept a theology roll from you specifically.
Intelligence and theology? Oh, that's a lot.
Yes,
That's a lot more dice. Okay, hang on. Let me.
and with your heresy specialty,
Okay, that's
so
3
that
more
would reduce
dice I
the
have to roll.
difficulty by 2.
Somebody,
Yep.
somebody say heresy.
1, 2.
With the difficulty, I only got 1.
Is my
With 7, I got.
is my blood buff still active? I can't remember.
No.
No? Okay. So that's 2.
Okay. 1 from Jack, 2 from
Oh,
Jill.
You said I get a specialty for the heresy?
Yep. Reduces the difficulty by 2, so your difficulty would effectively be 6. 4. Okay. And Rosalind?
Oh, I thought you said only if we stayed behind you roll.
No, now that it has been said out loud.
Okay. Then let me intelligence the code. Oh my god, that's such a good pull. I'm so excited.
For the 2 1s, you've heard that name before. It's usually bandied about amongst the people who claim a Slavic origin. With a 2, Jill, you would know that probably from spending time with one of your father's old apprentices who was a Slav. Havnor is the Slavic god of thunder.
The name of the god of thunder.
And with 4 successes in a theology roll, you have many parishioners who are Slavs, and you've heard many stories of Havnor. He is the Slavic god of thunder. He is their defender god. He is this heretical idol. But he is also the god of prophecy.
Dun dun dun.
Okie dokie.
Didn't you see a beckoning electric hand earlier too?
Yes. So Gisela just sort of rubs her temple. It's weird human affectation.
Alright.
Yeah. Emma, I don't know who he is personally. I saw him in a vision 20, 30 years ago before I was emplaced. And when the guards called his name Havlor, that is a name familiar to me from my learnings, name of a god of thunder and prophecy. He told me not to flee his visions. That's what he said to me.
He told us that Zolit lies. So if he's not Zolit, well, that's one more person we have to worry about. At least we have his name now.
If that is
Right.
his,
I came down for a couple decades.
is that his real name though?
He doesn't seem like a liar.
Was he also present at your embrace, Rosalind? Or before?
No. I don't know if I should feel relieved or left out.
I'm going to tell you this. You should be relieved.
It was not a pleasant experience coming across that, especially in mortal form as we were at the time.
Those fucking bats.
Yeah, that's all that was scary about that. The bats.
Well, now that we've gotten to know each other, perhaps we should get, what is the phrase? We should get going, get on the road. I do have to pick someone up first who needs a journey out of Bucharest.
The woman that you...
Yeah, Basarab. What's her name?
Good.
I think I gave her too much money. I'm not
Rosalind,
good with money.
Yes.
you are very familiar with that name.
Oh. Okay.
Basarab It is the name of one of the Semis voivodes. His name is Vintila Basarab. He has been, to your recollection, one of your sire's arch nemesis's greatest enemy. That being Verstania, the mistress of the gargoyles.
Got it.
The enemy
He
of
has
my
been
enemy.
tangling with Vintila for the better part of 40 years.
Oh.
He is a fearsome Semis warlord.
No, Estonia.
A ritual just got
I'm
made
dying.
like 20 years ago, honey. The
Oh, God, I'm dying. Hours of writing that Tamara lore video.
I'm gonna go back and watch that again.
I need to.
At that, something will click with Rosalind. Like the Basarab.
Gisela did recognize that name as well, but not quite into the extent of the magnitude of Rosalind.
And she did tell you that it isn't every day that someone makes an ally of Vintila Basarab.
Would she be able to determine that she's a revenant from her? Or
for sure.
Would Gisela not know what those are?
You would be aware of them. You've done enough research. You've been pretty much cracking down in your library personal time on getting that sweet Samisi deep lore.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I'm glad I was right. I figured that's what it was. Okay. Yeah. I believe she's a good ally, perhaps, for us to have. Are we to become princes of our own fiefdoms, lords of our own manors? I do believe it's good to have allies among the voivodate.
Right. Of course.
Allies are better than enemies, yeah. Not sure about the whole prince thing, but
You can be as unsure as you like. That is absolutely the path that God has set us upon.
Jill's gonna bite her lip a little bit at that. Just holding back.
Bit alarmedly, the wall stones part again, and walking down the steps, you see Haddle with his lantern again. I don't mean to interrupt, but if perhaps you could let me know when it is you are willing to abscond from this place. Your retinue has been constructed.
are we being kicked out?
No, by no means. I would never suggest that. I forgive me if I have given offense, and he kind of like lowers himself and.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. No, I was just seeing if our brother is tired of us being here. I was no offense.
This place does not belong to. This place does not belong to Mitro of Glasgow. This is neutral ground.
Don't take the words of my brother for asking us to leave.
You are currently in the domain of the Prince Vencel Ricard.
Yeah, little siblings, it's not all about you. And she'll smile. We are ready when you are ready to escort us.
He's gonna tap her fingers a little bit on the table before getting up fully. Oh no, she wasn't sitting anymore because the ghost broke the chair. So I would say she probably was leaning against the table then the entire time, and then a little nervous tick, and then stand up.
Huddle kind of waves you guys on and heads up the stairs.
We plan while we ride.
And he opens a sliding door above him as he gets to a ladder at the end of a hallway. Pops his head up, looks around. The coast is clear. And he climbs up and out of this hole.
Ladder's my favorite.
And as each of you rise, one of you with a little bit more difficulty than the rest, you find yourselves in a small room with some casks and barrels and bottles of wine and things of that nature. He says, this is the larder of the Golden Horse. If you just head out through that door there, you should be able to abscond down back to the marketplace where your retinue is assembled.
Is the mob gone, or are they just waiting outside the gate?
They are at the portcullis to the castle district waiting for you. However, you are very well and far behind them. They will never see you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Mistress Rosalind, I have been bid to give you a gift from your broodmate, Arden. And he reaches into his cloak and he pulls out a small pouch. He says, Arden wishes for me to tell you that the road is long and that there are many difficulties, and he hopes that this offering may find you safe passage. And he drops the bag into your hands. As you look inside, you see 2 sets of components for each ritual you possess. 2 castings of each ritual you have.
Excellent.
Obviously, apart from your own blood, which is needed for all of them, but the other required ingredients are all present.
Excellent. Thank you. She'll look into it and then look up with a smile and say, "You can tell Arden I said thank you, and thank you for delivering it."
You know me, wily Hadel. He slides the board back and climbs a little ways down the ladder and looks up. Farewell, K-Knight. Slides the door shut.
I need to go in to this. God provides. We are exactly where I need to be.
Oh, excellent.
So, is Jack, you look sturdy. You take my arm. Bitte.
So Jack just kind of remembering some of those manners he got taught, kind of props out an arm to take hers.
Use those keen eyes. Find the girl.
I can do that. Did you touch her?
With my hands. Was there some other way I should have touched her?
Well, not to my knowledge. And Jack's gonna try and pick up on the smell.
Gisela has no idea what you mean. Why you would ask that?
Perception and survival. Jack.
Gonna say, because Jack's just like,
As-
it's totally normal. There's like 5 people. You sniff them out. It's not weird.
Yeah.
As the 4 of you exit from this tap room, or this larder, into the tap room, rather, nobody notices you leaving from an area you definitely shouldn't be in. It's a busy night. There are people drinking, eating, common folk enjoying a night at the Golden Horse.
What is the difficulty?
7.
That is 3 successes.
Even though you're not in an optimal form for this sort of activity, you've done this enough. You catch her scent pretty easily. Up the stairs into one of the rooms.
This way. and kind of you see Jack like sniffing at the air as he leads you. And then
As you get up to
when
the
we come
door,
to the room, Jack's gonna go to just open the door.
as you open the door, you see, barely fully dressed, still tying the cinches of her dress, bathed, and now with her hair brushed and properly cared for. You see Sherazina Basara. She has all of those marks of having a middling of Turkish descent, as the majority of the Voivodate do. Her hair is beautiful and falls in loose ringlets. She is, now that you have a look at her, not dirty. She is stunning. She is dressed, thanks to the coin that she was afforded, she's dressed in a very fine gown with a traveling cloak.
As soon as she sees that she's undressed, Gisela's immediately going to go, Jack, avert your eyes, man.
What is the issue? I found her.
Turn it around.
It's
unbecoming.
It is quite all right. You have already seen me in a state of distress. There is no reason a state of undress should worry.
Jill is just chuckling as she listens to this happening.
Gisela's going to be pretty insistent.
Yeah. Jack turns around and looks, and just every now and then just turns to like look at
Jill's
As
gonna
she
come up to.
turns-
Sorry.
just. Can I?
As she turns, Gisela, you can see that inlaid into the cloak, there are two little sleeves where you can see that the handles of wooden stakes are in this cloak. She turns. She says, "Very good. Forgive me, my hair took much longer than I had anticipated."
Fräulein, you wanted a way out of the city? We have such a way. Are you prepared to go, or are you planning on some other type of activity this evening?
No, I am ready. Spasiba. It is greatly appreciated.
May I ask 2 questions before we go? One, do you have another dress like that? In the cloak?
Sure.
I would like to have it. And may I please have the stakes in the back of your cloak? I will return them once we are beyond the city limits.
As I would expect of a venerable sister, prudent but fair.
Wunderbar.
The moment stakes are mentioned, Jill is hyper-focused on the woman.
As she fetches the other dress and cloak, puts the other cloak on herself, and just takes the one with the stakes off and hands it to you. You do see that, because you've done your research, in the brooch of the pendant that she handed to you, you see the coat of arms of Clan Simis engraved behind the purple jewel.
Yes. Since Gisela is struggling to think of a name for them that is not offensive, at least in her mind, she's just going to say, I think it is time that we get you to where you should be, as opposed to where you were forced.
Instead of on my way into the custody of a Ventru prince, yes, perfect.
Nobody likes the Ventura. Come.
Can I
I'm
turn
beginning to
around
think the
now?
Ventru don't even like the Ventru.
Do I know what a Ventru even is?
No.
We know exactly 2 clans:
I was about to say.
the Tremere and the Smees.
Uh,
3 technically gangrel. The other ones, Arnulf was like, "You'll figure it out," and then we went and fucked off to the woods for 50 years.
yeah, for real. The reason I asked that is because I was gonna have Jill, and I will now say, "What's a Ventru?"
Rosalind will actually laugh a little.
Stuck up lordlings without the spine to seize what is believed to be theirs.
Disgusting.
It is nice to meet you. I am Sharasina of the House of Basarab.
Do we shake or bow?
Your hands are very dirty.
Jill walks up to her and will attempt to take the hand shake.
She'll shake your hand. She says, and she looks down at it. She says, "My grandfather, he tells us stories about how we are the land. It is nice to touch it every now and again."
She just called me dirty in a very profound way.
We are new acquaintances. I will be sure to attempt to impart that the cleanliness is in par with godliness to my compatriots.
That's why I'm dirty.
I washed off in the river.
She
before beginning of
immediately
town.
clocks you, Rosalind.
Mm-hmm.
I was not expecting that you would be traveling in the company of Tamir.
Neither was I.
What's a Oh wait, no, wait, I know what a Tremere is.
Jack's eyes immediately meet Rosalind's.
Yeah, same with Jill.
Says, do not mistake my surprise for I know you are all not alike. As much as your God King would like you to.
Rosalind will just give a smile and a nod. But she's trying to keep a cool stone face with everyone looking at her.
Sharazina Basarab, at your service, Lady Tremere.
Rosalind, lovely to meet you.
Are the Tremere kind of shady?
Jill.
Oh, sorry.
And a side eye from Sharazina. And she offers her arm to you, Rosalind. Would you care to escort me?
I would love to. It'd be my honor.
She awaits whoever is leading the way to the caravan.
Yep. Gisela will grab onto Jack. Okay, you can look down. You can look down now and lead us out, please.
Right. I mean, I could go by sense of
Nee,
smell.
schnell. Los geht's.
Don't know what that means. Jack. Just escort.
As you head on your way out, you see in the marketplace where just a few hours ago you secured the freedom of Sharasina Basarab. You see 5 covered wagons, large war horses attached to them. And you see a contingent of 25 men-at-arms.
Jill is gonna go and pull at Jack's shirt and be like, and point out the horses.
Jack's already like with if
After
Gisela
a moment,
wants to go with him, he's gonna go approach the horses.
Oh yeah, Jill's gonna go with him.
and as you even further your approach, you see that around the other side of the caravans, loading their tools into one of them, you see that there's a crew of about 40 skilled laborers. Masons, carpenters, metal workers. It seems when Mitru said that he would have a retinue assembled for you, he meant it.
Gisela will just sort of survey it and say, well, what could possibly go wrong?
Many things.
Yes. Well, we will teach you sarcasm. Greek.
Is that another language?
Some.
And
I think this is more
as
important than we suspected.
you see a man in heavy splint armor with a helmet on his head, he appears to be telling a few of the men-at-arms, like, says, no, that will never work. You have to go. You are going to man the first, and then we will be, 4 meters apart from one another on both sides. And then he looks up at the assembled Canaanites, takes off his helmet, and approaches. Jack, chill. It's a recognizable face.
Is it Armin?
See the face of Armin Danislav.
God damn it!
He walks up to the 4 of you. After all this time, I would have thought you would have found a hole to hide in and stayed there. I'm glad to see you, make no mistake.
It
I had
is.
heard that you had perished in the fire.
I
That
believe the last time we talked, you said we were going to fight. Do you mind if we put that off? We have important business to attend to.
As I am currently not under my own employ and under the employ of another, I am obliged to delay your deaths.
How kind of you.
It is good to see you.
Good to see
Sure.
you, Armin.
Good to see you too. It's been
Oh, come on, Jill. We were such friends.
she's gonna do the thing that she always used to do. She's gonna walk up to him and kind of give him a playful little punch on the side.
Well, Dayuta Pass, huh? It is a long journey. 9 days by carriage.
Enough time to catch
And
up on
that is
50
if we
years.
don't run into any unexpected wheel breaking or mass desertion. There are many. You know how horses are, Jakub.
It's just Jack.
Forgive me, Jak. You know how these things are.
Don't
There can be any amount of difficulties on the road. Hell, part of the path is an old goat's hard path through mountain. I mean, it will be fucking difficult to get these fucking horses to here. Forgive me, sister.
Jill has something click in her brain in that moment, a thought that she hadn't had in 50 years. She once again plays with the signet ring. She's gonna look to Jack and then look to Armin. And then she's going to attempt to whisper to him, we need to have words.
About what?
Not now, doesn't need to be now, but soon. I have questions for you.
I doubt I have answers for you, Jill. But if you want... forgive me. I spend too much time doting on old friends. My name is Armin Danislav. It is nice to meet the both of you.
Rosalind.
Would Gisela have sort of clocked this weird tension in between them?
For sure. And not only
Okay.
would you have clocked that, but Danislav is another name that has come up in your research of the Smiths. It is a
Naturally.
revenant family.
Naturally.
And what you would know is that the word on the street is that at one point they were kinfolk to the Lupines.
Okay. Okay. She'll incline her head and say, Привет. I am Sister Gisela. So, у тебя нет, Petrovia? Do you not have work to do for us? Yes. Pleasantries can come after.
There is no end to the work. There truly is. Let's go ahead and load up. We do have license to grab a few more horses from the stable before we leave, if you would like riding horses for the evening bits of travel.
I think that should be obvious, no?
Yeah, I've known many, specifically of your kind, sister, who refused to walk upon horse. There was this monk from Kiev who said, Christ never rode horse, why would I?
Yeah. And she will flash her leg to him and show how disfigured and crooked and gnarled it is. I think Christ would forgive me for this. I will ask him for it after the end of my ride.
Pulls down his shirt and shows you that beneath the mail there's an obviously deeply broken clavicle that is healed very poorly. He says, I feel the same way when I am forced to carry, huh? Alright, well, we will stop, we will grab horses. I'm sorry, I missed your name, redhead woman.
Oh, Rosalind.
Rosalind. Good to meet you.
Absolutely.
Let us pack up, we will grab riding horses on the stables on the way out. And we make our way to Tayuta.
Out of Basarab's earshot, if it's possible, like to just sort of lean into Rosalind and say, I've never been a big fan of these revenant families. They talk too much.
Rosalind would just smile and nod in agreement.
And you see Armin put his helmet back on. He says, "Alright, you bunch of fucking maggots, let's go! What are you so lazy for? Come, we have shit to do. Come on, get the muck out of your boots. It's time to go."
Jill is going to look to Jack at this point, and she is just going to say, 50 years has not changed him.
You'd think that dragon of a master would actually fix him, but no.
You do see that it has been 50 years since you've seen Armin. His hair is beginning to show little slivers of gray. He's changed a little. But who he is, not at all.
No, that's what I mean. No, Jill's talking about personality. It's literally like 50 years had not passed with that conversation. Just...
As under the astute and hard-driving whip of Armin Danislav, the retinue begins to move. You pick up your horses, riding horses for each of you for during the night. And you begin to set off. I will say, before what happens next, you have about 5 nights of travel. Cross the border of Hungary back into Romania, back into Transylvania. Jill, you said you wanted to have words with Armin. You certainly have the time.
Yeah, whenever the moment is appropriate, and if Jack wants to accompany her, she's not going to say no, but...
Jack has very little to say to Armin.
Understood.
His main question, he knows that Armin's not going to answer.
So, Jill, you ride your horse up a stride where Armin is on a large, wicked-looking black horse.
She's going to honestly admire the horse for a minute there. And then she's going to say, Armin.
Jill?
See, you're starting to gray. Time's starting to show.
Slowly but surely. You haven't aged a day.
A little bit of the benefit. But my question to you. She's going to show him the signet ring on her hand. Did you know?
That you were Uldred's bastard? Everyone knew.
Everyone except me, everyone except Jack.
And the children. But yeah, everyone knew.
She's gritting her teeth. And
Uldred's wife goes missing for 5 nights, and one of the cooks caught your mother leaving the cabin into the house. It was 9 months later. The Lord's wife has a baby after your mother was pregnant, and then your mother disappears, and your father is given a babe from the Lord.
did you also know that Jack was ordered to kill me that night?
What do you mean? I can't say I'm surprised. If Aaron would have tried to remove you from the picture, you were troublesome, a threat to his reign.
There's a very confused expression on Jill's face right now. She was kind of relieved that he didn't know. Or at least, actually, insight check. Is he, can I tell if he's telling the truth?
Give me a wits and empathy.
Okay, it's 3 dice. Difficulty?
Go to 8.
2.
It seems like he didn't know, but isn't surprised.
Yes. I assume because, no, yeah, Jack and Jill talked about that, about what happened.
You did not know Aaron the way I did. Any threat to his legitimacy was paramount. It was only a matter of time before he had you killed. And luckily for you, you got to him before he got to you.
By happenstance, but yes, I am glad I was able to survive that night. And I'm glad that Jack was not forced to take my life.
That is what I keep hearing about you, beastkin. You survive. That's what you do. No one should be surprised. Things played out the way they were meant to. I will still kill you for killing him. Make no mistake.
She's actually going to smile at that.
He was my sworn liege lord. I am bound by oath to God. But I cannot blame you for what you did. You did what you had to. You will be a worthy opponent when I remove your head from shoulders.
She's actually going to smile. It's been a while, and admittedly part of her over the past 50 years. Because even with all the bullshit, she actually did like Armin quite a bit. And even with all this that's happening right now, she is honestly just relieved that he didn't have a part in the shady, assassination attempt on her in any way, or at least didn't know about it. And in that moment, there's a little bit of a weight that's removed on her shoulder, and she is going to position her horse closer to his, and once again playfully punch his side. She's going to turn a smile to him and say, "You can certainly try."
I don't try when it comes to battlefield, Joe. I succeed. That's why I've lived this long. I was 58 when we met. No one has been able to cross me on the battlefield and lived. I have faced full-fledged kindred, and I have relieved them of their own lives.
Are you boasting
This
at
is the
me
way.
now?
Yes. And he just kind of pats you on the back and looks over to one of the men. He says, "Are you for real fucking sleeping on that horse right now?" And he rides ahead and like smacks the dude in the back of the head as he rides forward.
That's all that Jill wanted to say, but she is going to say her last words to him before pulling away is, "For what it's worth, Armin, it is good to see you again." And she is gonna run
As
off.
I said, it is good to see you, Jill.
Such a complicated relationship.
And as you ride forward, on this night, of course, in prequels, we've seen the ruins of the Volstadt Manor. But it is on the ride there, to tell you the path. As you ride, the village having grown, the old burnt out stones of the manor sit like a grim monument on the hill. Of course, what is Volstadt Manor now exists firmly within the fiefdom of Klausenberg. It is under the political rule of your broodmate Mitru. As you ride through, riding towards the same forest you were embraced in, Jack, Jill. As the darkness of the night surrounds you, and the camera begins to pan away, the sky alights. Dozens of arrows wreathed in flame arc across the sky towards your caravan. Comes speeding down from the sky that flaming death that is a flaming arrow. By the dozen. And that, my friends, is where we will end this first episode of Transylvania Beckons. Transylvania Chronicle, a Vampire Dark Ages 20th edition game. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for playing. Thank you all for watching. And we're just gonna go ahead and I'll pass off, and we'll take a moment to again introduce ourselves, say who we've been playing. If you'd like to shout out any of your own social medias or anything like that, now would be the time. And let's go ahead and begin with the wonderful Az.
Hi, I'm as I was on the social medias because I think I'm funny. And today I played Jack, the gangrel. Yeah, there's no complicated family issues going on. Everything is fine.
Without a single complicated issue. And we're gonna go ahead and go down to Druid by Night.
Hello, I've been Luna or Druid by Night, whichever you prefer. You can find me at Druid by Night on TikTok, Twitter, and Twitch. I have been Rosalind Tremere. Happy Halloween and Blessed Samhain. I hope you enjoyed our first episode.
we're going to go ahead and pass ourselves over to the Azure Butterfly.
Hello, everybody. I am the Azure Butterfly, or Azure for short, or simply Rachel. You can find me over at the azurebutterfly.ttv. I also do other content on the Rolling Nomads, including The Witcher Ways of Old and Azure Storytelling Studio, where I discuss all things storytelling within video games, books, movies, and other media. That's me. I have been Jill the Gangrel.
Wonderful. And last and certainly not least, we're so happy to have you here with us and get you in the player's seat, Huddy.
Hello, I'm so sorry I disappeared the last 10 minutes. My dog absolutely would not stop crying to go use the toilet. I'm Huddy. Who am I? I'm a community ambassador. I just read up 3 flights of stairs. I am a community ambassador for World of Darkness. I have a YouTube channel, huddyvonschland, where I talk about everything to do with World of Darkness, Vampire, and I run 2 Chronicles, Are We Dead Yet, and Blood on the Grand Strand, which is finishing its final season this year. And that's everything. Thank you so much for having me as a player. I never get to play, and totally nervous. I totally don't feel like I know what I'm doing, but here I am.
Who'd you play, Huddy?
Oh, I played Gisela, the Malkavian, who nobody asked what her clan was, so nobody knows. But they probably guess. They probably guess.
No,
God,
we've never met a
we love
Malkavian.
Yeah, we wouldn't know. I just think you're a nun.
Rossler probably has a hint.
Yeah.
And as always, I've been Avery. Literally everyone else that was not one of these wonderful people at the table. You can find me at Golden Gwydion on every single platform. I also play in The Witcher Ways of Old on the Rolling Nomads. And I have been and will be the storyteller here for Transylvania Beckons. Happy Halloween. Thank you all for popping in. And with that, I think that's us in a handbasket, Gilbert Ramos. I'm coming for your brand, boy. All right. Thank you so much. Have a good night, guys.